Hi there, this is Vivek again. Uh, I hope you enjoyed my previous video sessions. So yesterday's video was about configuring nested virtualization on Google Cloud, and then I installed KVM on it, that is kernel virtual machine, and over that kernel virtual machine, I have installed the ESXi image, that is just as a for to test the environment, and it was working. So today I have to extend that lab, so as committed earlier, so I will be extending the same lab and install two instances of ESXi 6.7 image on two virtual machines, and then we install the virtual center appliance on one of the ESX hosts, and then after that we will configure high availability, ESXi high availability, as well as DRS configuration. Then we'll test using the test the live migration of the VM from one host to another host. So this will complete our lab. So it will take some time. So yesterday's video was quite long, so it's about two 2 hours. So I believe many of you have not seen that. So if you get the time, whenever you get time, go through the video. And those who have already watched it, thank you for viewing the video. It's a lengthy one, and I hope you enjoyed the session, and those who are going to watch it, so you will find some good informative material on it. So let's start today's session. Yeah, this is the training material that I will be using for demonstration. So here, as displayed here, install VMware Linux, VMware VSphere 6.7 or KVM over CentOS 8 VM instance configured with nested virtualization on GCP. So this part, like CentOS instance configuration with nested virtualization on GCP and KVM installation already done in yesterday. So today we'll continue with this installation of VSphere 6.7 and the cluster configuration. Okay, so as already I have communicated, like you can use the 300 USD free tier that is provided by Google uh, to configure your labs. Okay, so let's proceed further. So we are using the same configuration. So we need to follow the following steps to prepare for the KVM. So KVM has been already installed, but we need to configure it. It's still in the default configuration, and we need to configure the other components, like KVM is using a default network, so virtual network. So let's I will show you first. Let's go to the Google GCP console. This is a GCP console that I'm using. Let's see how much credit left. Yeah, 19,220. I have plenty of credit left, so I can proceed with the installation. Let's see what all instances I have. Yesterday I have not deleted the instance. It should be there, though I kept it in stopped state, so that it will not consume. Yeah, this instance is still running, the Linux instance, from where I have to copy the images over to the lab instance. So this is the lab instance which we have created in my previous video. So let's start it. So it's not running, so let's start it. I will provide the link for yesterday's video in the description of this post, and this document will also be shared, so don't worry about that. You can follow this document, and you this for actually these documents are self-explanatory, so you don't need a video to follow this, but I'm providing the videos uh, for a quick guide, as a quick guide you can use, so for demonstration, so that you will find it easy to follow through this documentation. Okay, thank you. So I think it started. Let's see, the instance is started now. Let's copy the, yeah, its IP is changed now, so I have to copy the public IP, and then I have to connect to it session. I don't think there is anything, it's running. Okay, let's close this all. This is the one I can use, but no, let's create a new session. Not an issue. Provide the username, then select the private keys that yesterday I have copied, so lab1. Okay, so I'm now connected to the shell, Linux shell. Let's switch over to root. Let's see why virtualization is still enabled, that the virtual machine manager is accessible or not. libvirt daemon is the main hypervisor daemon that I need to check. So systemctl status libvirt. So libvirt, oh sorry, typo. Yeah, it seems libvirt is not started, so I have to start it. So it's stopped now. The instance was in stop state, that's the reason the it got disabled as well. So started status. Okay, I need the graphical desktop as well. So xrdp, let's see, systemctl status xrdp. Yeah, xrdp is running. So let's now try to connect using remote desktop. Change the IP. It seems to be connecting. Provide a username and password. Login failed. Why login failed? I think I have given wrong password. Let's see. It's loading. It will take some time because Linux graphics desktop over internet, it's a bit slow process. So it's not a very efficient process to access it, but however we have to manage it. Yeah, it's connected now. So let's try to access the virtual machine manager. It's connected. Yeah, it's now connected. Let's see if it's responding or not. Yeah, it's responding now. So I can work on it. We have installed one ESX instance yesterday, but I want to delete it now because I do not want to use this one, because I have to use the different networking for our lab. So we'll not be using the default network. We have to use a different network. So customization, the network customization also I will show you. So we have to create a separate network that you can say a VLAN for inside this virtualization environment. So for that, so if you go through uh, this here, edit connection details, edit connection details, it will open you the configuration window. So here if you go to the virtual networks, so it's showing that there is one default network configured. So this network is configured with forwarding as NAT. So it's connected to the internet. So this is connected to the internet. So though the network will be creating, that also will be using NAT. But KVM also supports some other kind of networking, like bridge networking. We can create isolated networking as well, so without using internet. So that's as per your requirement, you can do that. So if we go and search in the Google about the um, network networking supported by KVM. So virtual networking supported by KVM. If you go, I think we need to go this one, networking KVM. Okay. So if we go to this one, so you will get the details about private virtual bridge. You can create. No, it does not explain improperly. So creating virtual machine in KVM, networking libword. It shows the steps, but it does not show the different types of networking. Let's see. Virtual networking in KVM. Virtual networking in KVM. No, it's not there either. It does not show in this document as well. Let's see. KVM virtual networking concepts here. I think here you may get the information. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, here. Uh, this in this document you will get the information, so I will add it in the document, in our document. So here I will add it in our document. Concepts about virtual networking in KVM. So if you go through this link, you will get the information, like the types of virtual network modes you can use is NAT, routed, bridged, and isolated. So NATing mode allows the network internet to be accessible. So from internal network you can access the internet through it will connect to the host, and from using a routed mode or bridged mode, you can also configure firewall. You can configure NATing from outside, like you can access the virtual machines from outside. For that you have to configure your network as either bridged or routed. So isolated mode also you can create. In that case, this is actually called host only network. So what it does, it creates an isolated network, so you can access the virtual machines only from the host. Only from the host you can access this. So if you go there, so it will explain like all the modes you have, it will explain. So if you use bridged mode, it's actually connecting to the external switch through the host. So you will get the IP address. If there is a DHCP configured over there, you will get it. But here in cloud, this bridge mode creates a problem. So that is the reason either you have to go for isolated mode or NAT mode. That is the preferable configuration over cloud. So routed and bridged mode is generally not allowed in the cloud service because they are using their virtualized network, so software defined network on the cloud. So it's better to configure your isolated network as isolated network, or using NAT. So if you use NAT, so you can access internet from the internal VMs, but from outside you cannot access it. If you need to access the internal VMs, you have to configure NAT configuration in the host itself, like that is the nested virtualization host, that is Linux host, that where you can configure forwarding rules through IP tables, and you can forward traffic into the specific VM. And in isolated as well, you can also do in isolated, even you cannot access the internet from inside, so there will be no internet access. So you need to configure firewall rules for accessing the internet. So you need to create static routes in that case from inside. Okay, so let's go with the NATing mode we are using. In our lab we are using NATing mode, so let's go with it. So here, this is the interface. If you go to this location, like sorry, where it's yeah, this is the default network that will be not. We can use this one, not an issue, because we are using NAT. So if we create another network or not, that's not make a difference. But I would like to show you how to create the virtual network. So that is the reason I will be demonstrating it. Otherwise, we can go with the default as well. So I'll not be creating the network. You can create the network from here as well, just by adding from this one. This using this add network you can create, but I do not want to create it from here, graphical user interface. So I will be creating it using command line. This is my oh, sorry, this one. I think this one got disconnected. So from this, I will show you the command line. That in Linux, command line is the most easiest way to configure. Graphical user interface is not that much efficient. Just for display and console access, I have configured the graphical user interface. Otherwise, not required. Okay, so now if you go to the document, you will get the commands like what all virtual networks configured in this Linux host that you can check using virsh. It's a virtual shell list -- all. It will show the virtual machine is configured over there. Because there is no virtual machine, we have deleted it, it will not show. So but we can also use, we can see, now we need to see the networks, virtual networks. Okay, so for that the command is netlist. Using netlist you can use, so list will show which list will show the virtual machines running over there. Since there is no virtual machine, it will not show anything. Netlist, if we need to check the virtual interfaces, we can see netlist. So here it's showing one default network already configured, it's auto start enabled, it's persistent, and it's active. Okay, so we have to create other interfaces. Now how would you create it? So if you need to see the configuration of this interface, so here KVM use the XML format for the configuration. So KVM will show KVM we can use the, like, if we use the command like netedit, and netedit default and an interface name, so it will show the configuration in XML format. So virsh, so in short we call virsh, netedit, and the name of the interface. So it will dump the output of the configuration in XML format. We can copy this and modify as per our requirement, and then we can use it for creating another network. Okay, so let's exit from here, and this opens in a, if we want to edit it, you can also edit it. This opens in VI editor, so we can edit and modify it, but since we are not required to modify anything, just exit it. So I will give you the configuration in this document. So this is the document configuration. So just you need to create a new file, copy it, paste it in a notepad, and check the formatting if everything is fine. Network, okay, I think something is missing. Oh, network is missing. So guys, make sure that tags are closed, all the tags are closed properly. So all the opening tags should have the proper close tags. So here I will be creating one private network. So I'll be using NAT, so that we can access the internet as well. If you want to create isolated network, you can use isolated. If you want to create bridge network, you can use the bridge network interface. This is the interface name from the Linux. So from Linux you can check the what all interfaces are there using. If config will also show, if config will show, so if config will show here, like this is the one virtual bridge, this is the default, this is the configuration of the default virtual network, and we are creating another one. So that will be as per, we can give any name, but we want to follow the standard. So virtual bridge VR01, that will be green. If you need more details about this, you can use IPA DDR, or IPA will also work. So IPA shortcut will also work. Okay, so it will show all details about all the interfaces. We have BR01, so we'll create virtual bridge 0. 0 is already there, we have to create 01. So here that's one I have given. You can use one virtual bridge 1. Okay, so these are the spanning tree protocol is on, because this is the bridge, so we are using spanning tree protocol on. Delay is 0 seconds we have given. So these are the default configuration that is taken from the existing configuration. This is important. IP address, this particular interface will have this IP address, so that will be our gateway for the internal host. Okay, keep it in mind, 192.168, because this interface will also work as the router. So this 150, I am using a subnet of 150.1, and subnet mask, the default subnet mask, and this part is the DHCP. So this will also provide DHCP service to the internal host. If you are not using DHCP, you just need to disable. You just need to delete this. So you'll not, in that case, you will not have any DHCP configuration. And in that case, you have to configure each and every virtual machines using static IP addresses, obviously from this range only, this of this subnet. So let's use to make it simpler for our lab. So we use DHCP, and the DHCP starting IP address is 150.100, and it will go up to 254. Okay, so that's it. It's very simple configuration. Copy it in the interface. Just open, create a file, new file, priva private.xml, private.xml. Paste it here. Then check it once again, then save and exit. You know how to save and exit in the VI editor, right? So that is shift colon, that is a colon, this is the command, and then W for write and Q for quit. Okay, this is done. If you want to quit without saving, you just need to press Q. So it's done. Now you can check the configuration file once again. I think it looks good. So let's proceed further as per our document. So what we need to do, we need to define this now. So this is the command which net define private.xml. Okay, so which which net hyphen define private.xml. So it will take the configuration and create your interface. So it's done. So if you want to check the configuration, or already net list will show you. So it's not showing. Why it's not showing? Define from. It should show. Oh, all. Sorry, we need to use the all. Otherwise, it shows the active one. Okay, so it shows interface is configured, but it's still inactive, and auto start is not enabled. Persistent is persistent across reboot, but it's not configured. So interface will be available after reboot, but it will not get activated automatically. So we need to configure that. So how will we configure that? So let's start. Okay, so first start it. Net start private interface name. Okay, let's give it which net start and private. It started. Check the status. It's active now. We need to make it auto start. We need to auto start, enable the auto start feature. Auto start. Sorry. I think it's done. Let's see. Yeah, interface is configured, and you need to check the configuration. You can use the define option. Define will show you, not define, sorry, edit. Private will show you. Yeah, it takes the configuration. Check the interface configuration in the Linux box. ADDR. Yeah, here you can see that the virtual bridge 1 is configured, and it has the IP address of this one. Okay, so let's okay, fine, done. So let's proceed further. Now we are ready to launch our here you can see that the interface is configured. interface is added. Okay, this is the DHCP. It's configured with NAT. On boot is yes, so auto start is enabled. It's active now. So configuration is done. You can also see the XML from here as well. So if you want to see, but you cannot modify it from here. That's fine. Let's close it. So now we can launch our virtual machines. So in order to launch the virtual machine, I have the image. This image already copied. This ISO image is already copied. So I need to copy other components as well. So let's see what are the other components I have already copied yesterday. Go to the temp section, temp show. I have copied this one. I have copied this one as well. I need to copy the virtual center OVA, that is the open virtualization appliance as well, that we'll be deploying inside the ESX host. So let's copy that one as well. So by the time we'll install our ESX, this copy will also complete. So it's not a very big file, it's a small file, so it will complete and it will not take much time. So VMWare vCenter, this one. Okay, so just yesterday we used this command. Let's I think I have copied this one as well. Virtual center, no, not done. This is the older command. And I need to give the new IP address. So copy the new IP address, external IP address of the Linux instance, and change this to this one because this is the previous command. So I am using SCP to transfer the file to our target location, and I am using the private key. So I think this private key is also wrong. This private key I have to use. This private key is the older one. This is for another instance, not this one. Let's see. It's saying could not resolve host name 232. Why it's so? (232) SCP is fine. Key is also fine. VMware vCenter. Oh, there's something wrong here, I think. Let's see. It's 35. So there is one extra 3 got added. Okay, now it's working fine. Okay, let it complete. In the meantime, we'll go through our deployment of the ESX boxes. So we have to create this first. Let's copy this part up to this, put it in a notepad, and then we see if we need to modify it. So first I need to create a virtual disk, the disk where the installation will happen. So we are using the kmooc img, that is the command, create in a raw format. It will create ES6i6171.img format. You can use img format, or there is another format supported in KVM, that is called qcow2. That is also a format, say like file name dot q cow 2. This is another image format, that is format used in, there's a default format for KVM. So though we are using this img format, and I'll be assigning 40 GB disk. Okay, so 40 GB each for these VMs. That is sufficient, I believe. And here the name list, the name of the instance. This is the name of the instance. Okay, this is the name of the VM. This is the image, the same image. We'll be using the same image. So uh, yeah, let's rest all things like network configuration, bridge mode. The bridge type is virtual bridge 1. Okay, this is the name. You have to copy it from this location, like this one. You have to copy and put it there. Let the rest of the config, there's a graphics, it will configure the graphics. So RAM, I'm giving 12 gigs for this virtual machine. Okay, so 12 gigs is, I believe, sufficient. There will be 6 CPUs, so I'll be using six CPUs, assigning 6 CPUs for the host. So we have 16 CPUs in the main host, so 6 CPUs we can assign, around 6 plus 6, 12 CPUs we'll be assigning to these ESX boxes. That's fine. For our lab purpose, it's fine. For if you need to do some real work on this environment, in such environment, you need to tune it accordingly. So let's clear this and create the image. Okay, so here the image is created. The image is created. Now we have to launch the virtual machine. Copy, paste, done, enter. Okay, it started installation. So you can see that it will be visible here. Yeah, open it. So you can see the installation started here. So I will start another. Here the terminal is still active, so let's continue, create a duplicate instance. So here I will be starting another one, the second instance as well, because we do not want to waste time. It will make our video longer. So let's modify these, make the image 2, and also here instance name would be 2, image name would be 2, rest everything will be same. So create the image, done. Launch the second instance or second VM, because this is not a cloud. We are now inside the nested virtualization environment that is running over cloud, but still for us it's a normal lab. Okay, started. Let's see. So you will get another one. Let's open its terminal as well. It started one, it's booting up. So for the first one, it started already, the installation started. So let's continue. Enter. This expand. I believe I need to expand the window a bit, otherwise it's not visible. Little bit. Done. Fine. So press, follow the instructions on the screen. So we need to press F11 for the installation to start. When it completes, by that time the other instance will also be ready for installation. Enter. Select everything default. Enter. Give a root password. Give a password that you can remember. Done. Continue. Start the installation using F11. Okay, installation started. It will complete in a couple of minutes. Let's see if the other one is also ready for installation. So it's almost about to come. So let's let's expand the window a little bit. That's fine. Yeah, it's ready now. Enter. Guys, this is pretty fast, not a slow one, because if we install the same thing in our home desktop or laptop, it will be much slower. We have given plenty of memory. 60 gigs of memory is given in this uh, nested virtualization host, that is the Linux instance, and 16 CPUs are there, that is running over Intel Haswell CPU. And nested virtualization use pass-through CPU pass-through technology, like whatever the instructions it receives from the virtual guest, that will be passed over to the guest OS, the host, that is the physical CPU on the data center. It's processed from there, and the output will be sent back. So it will be, that's the reason it's slower, but it will do your job at the end. So let's start the installation. Yeah, it will do your job. It will be slower, but it will complete. Let's complete installation. Start the installation. Give the password. I'm giving the same password for both. So ESX installation will not take time. It's a very small image, so it will complete soon. But the installation time for the virtual center, and the configuration time for the virtual center OVA appliance will take time. It's a bit lengthy. Okay, so it's this one. Let's see. The other one is done. I have to reboot it. Yeah, reboot the host, and then it will be ready for access. And this is going to complete soon. Wait. This is not a very efficient way to configure, but this will solve our purpose, the solve our problem of getting a lab. For POC also you can use proof of concept, you can use the similar kind of lab, and you can use it for personal learning, you can use it for POC, you can use it for testing. So there are multiple reasons you can use. So Google is providing this nested virtualization feature. Amazon, I am exactly not sure whether they have this feature. Azure, I think no, they do not provide this feature. So they are using Hyper-V for their virtualization environment in their data center. Google is using Linux. Google provides the feature. Amazon, I think, using Zen OS, Citrix Zen, so they will not be providing. They can provide it on the bare metal servers, but not on the public images. So Google's data center is running on completely on Linux. Everything is Linux, and Google's data centers are mostly a bit academic oriented. Like it will provide you more lots of opportunities for research and learning. And Amazon's interface environment is mostly commercial. Okay, now this one is accessible. So when this one is accessible, let's start our virtual center installation as well without wasting time. Okay. So its IP is 192.168.153.133. Let's open the graphical user interface. I have no other option but to use the graphical that is Firefox provided here, because I cannot launch it from outside. So for outside I have to use lots of firewall opening. Okay, let's open it from here. 192, 168. let's change it 150.133 150.133. Okay, it's accessible now. Accept and continue. It has been already provided you the login prompt. Give the password, login. No need to save. Okay, here you were. We are into the management console of web management console of the ESX host, first ESX host. Okay, so now here we have to create one virtual machine using virtual vCenter server. We can create a virtual machine. So create register VM that we have to use, or you can use it from here, from this location as well. So, and if you go to the document, I have mentioned all these things. I have mentioned everything. So here everything is explained here. Installation is completely mentioned over here. Then one installation is done, access it, then you have to create you have to import the appliance, OV appliance. So here we are not required to create a normal VM, so we will be importing the appliance. So I think the import copy has been already completed. Let's see. Yeah, file copy completed. Let's check it in the temp. Appliance, where is the appliance? This is the appliance. Okay, this is the appliance, so that we can access. So select from this new virtual machine wizard, select the OVA, the second option. Go next, give it a name, say VC1. Okay, so I have given VC1 virtual center 1, and then select the image. Click here. It will open open a browser window. So you have to select the location where the file is located. Inside, I have copied it in the temp. So this is the server, virtual center, vCenter server appliance. Okay, open it. Now proceed further. Select everything default. Okay, so accept. Then accept the license agreement. Proceed. Keep everything default. For from here, no need to mention anything. Just proceed. If I need to mention here anything, like nothing required. Okay, proceed. Okay, what it's saying that at least one extra disk image was provided, that will be ignored. Okay, so that's fine. That's the configuration given inside the this virtual appliance. Already is a pre-configured. So it's using a Photon OS. It's a VMware's proprietary Photon OS based on Linux. Okay, now start, finish. So it will take some time for the configuration to complete. If you go down here, you will see that it will show you. It will show you the progress. Okay. Yeah, hello guys. I think the installation is almost complete. I paused the video in between for the installation to complete because it takes longer time. So it seems to be completed. Oh, one task is still pending. Yeah, it's done. It's completely installed. Installation is done. Let's see the status of the virtual machine. Yes, I can see that the virtual machine is now visible here. So so virtual machine is now visible here. Just double click on it. It will show you the details. Yeah, this is the virtual machine. Uh, let's see if all the tasks are completed or not. Yeah, I can see all the tasks are completed. So I think we are good to power on this machine. It will take some time to start. CPU's 2 and 10 GB memory is given to this virtual machine. So let's click on this. It's powering on. So this will take again some time. Yeah, guys, it takes a long time to start for the first time. So once it started off, it will work fine. But and that's the reason I suggest to not to stop or restart this virtual machine, the virtual center, because it takes huge load on the server, and it was not powering on. Hence, I paused the video and increased memory in both the ESX hosts. So I make it to 20 gigs each in the ESX host. Powered off them and then change the memory to 20 gigs. That you can do from here. Let me show you. So you need to power off this virtual machine. Then you need to power off this ESX hosts, and after that you can change it from the here. Right now you cannot change, because if you change you need to reboot it. So I changed the machine. I changed the configuration memory to from 12 gigs to 20 gigs on both of them. Okay, then again powered on the virtual center. It takes more than 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes to start for the first time. So hence you need to be patient. Don't do anything, just power it on and wait and watch. So it will come up. It will come up, and once it comes up, so this is the screen. Okay, so this is the screen where you will get the IP address to access this one from the DHCP KVM. DHCP, it got the IP of 175. So just go to the browser and access it. But first time when you access it, you need to configure it. Its installation is done, but reconfiguration is not yet done. You have to access it using 5480 port for the appliance management. So HTTPS 192.168 sorry dot 168 dot 150 dot 175 colon 5480. Okay. Sorry, IP is incorrect. It's 150. Okay, now it's accessible. This is the screen for the configuration of the Virtual Center 6.7. So you need to click here, and before that you need to do one small configuration change. So what is that? You just need to go there and you see that there is a machine name given, photon hyphen machine. So that's a workaround, or you can say a hack. That is, this hack you need to follow. Photon machine need to be added in the host file. So that's, otherwise it was creating problem later on. So vi etc hosts, go there and add the IP address of the virtual center 192.168.150.175 and photon machine. This is required because we need to access the virtual center web client from our Linux host, but there is no DNS configured. That is the reason photon machine, it could not resolve to the photon machine. So that's the reason we need to do this. Otherwise it's not required. If you have a proper DNS and its virtual center is configured with DNS and the domain, then it's not required. Okay, now just go to this tab. Now click on setup, but you cannot access it. Why you cannot access it? Because you don't have the root password. We have not configured any password here. So for that you need to go to this console window, uh, F2, function F2 will take you to the configuration page. Function F2, yeah, set the root password. Okay, this password is for accessing the appliance configuration, not the virtual center client. So for virtual center server configuration, we have to provide the password again. Save and exit, enter. It will take you to the main configuration page. From here, guys, you can change the management network and everything. Here we have configured, you can configure, we are using DHCP. So if you want a static configuration, you have to do it here. Before any configuration to the appliance, you have to configure the network interface from this location. Okay, so here if you go there, configure, you enter, it will show you the configuration. Like this is the one configuration, so you have to configure everything. Is automatic, it says you need to say change it to static. So I'm not doing it now. So exit, escape will exit you, take you to the main prompt. So wait for some time. Done. Now go to the next tab, that is the virtual center tab. Here you need to authenticate yourself with that password. Login. So authentication done. Now next, press on next, click on next. It will take you to the next page. So here it says the network configuration. So network configuration we are not required to do. It's already taken from DHCP. Time synchronization, it will synchronize from the virtual center. ESXi. SSH configuration for vCenter server high availability. SSH is required. If you need to configure it, just enable it. Not an issue. Next, we will configure high availability of the ESX boxes, not the virtual center. So here you need to define a domain, or you can join an existing domain, but since we don't have an Active Directory domain, so we have to create a local domain. Okay, so give anything, like I will be giving my ESX domain dot local. Okay, dot local, fine, dot local. My ESX domain dot local. Username is administrator by default. So for now it's default. So later on you can create other users. So give a root administrator password. This password you need to use while logging into the virtual center. Next, okay, here it's asking for the customer experience improvement program. It will provide the logs and updates to the VMware for improvements. So for lab setup we don't need. So if you want to give, you can use it, you can enable it, but I don't require it. Next. So just validate all the information that you have provided. My ESX domain.local administrator is the user account that you need to use to log in. So opt out, CEIP is opt out. Okay, so everything is fine, seems to be fine. Next, finish. So it will take again a long time to complete. It will take again 10 to 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. So configuration is about to start. So let's start it, then I will pause the video. So it started it. So it will take time. So I will pausing the video. So when it reached 100%, I will start the video again. Guys, the installation is complete now. It's completed 100%. And here you can see that the URL given is Photon machine, and it's using SSL. That's the reason 443. This is the reason I asked you to add the host entry. So now whenever you type Photon machine, that will also this page will be accessible, or you can access it using the web page IP address anyway. Let's now close it, and I think it takes directly to the login page. Yeah, it takes you to the appliance management. So we don't need to log into the appliance management, because if we log into the appliance management using the root account, it will just show the appliance configuration. So let's have a look, because here it's still 5480 port it's accessing. So this is the appliance management. So this is the appliance management. We don't need to access the appliance management anymore. We just need this one. So open another tab and access it. Yeah, it gives the option. I think it's accessible. Let's see. Accept and continue. Yeah, this is the VSphere. This is a VSphere client. This is a VSphere management VSphere web page, web management page. So launch the VSphere web client. So HTML version, that's what recommended. Yeah, you need to accept it again. So here you see that photon machine, it's converted automatically to photon machine. So if the host entry or DNS is not there to resolve it, then your page will not open. So yeah, here you are, the web client, VSphere web client. So you need to log in using your domain. So in the Windows way, like ESX I my ESX, I think my ESX my ESX domain dot local slash administrator, and the password is which you have given during installation configuration. Now see if it works. Yeah, that's great. We are into the we are in the management interface. Is the web client management interface. So here it shows that there are expired or expiring license in your inventory, so you have to obtain a evaluation license and you have to put it here. Okay, so I do not want to show you the license I have, so that's the reason I'm will be hiding it. So let me configure it and provide the license. Here you need to go to add license. So here you need to paste the license. Okay, yeah, I have added the evaluation license. Now you can proceed with the configuration. Just click on it, it will take you to the home, and also you can dismiss the warning which is coming above, like regarding the license key. Now we need to configure our we need to add the hosts. First we need to create a data center. So there is no data center configured at this moment. So if you go there, hosts and clusters, you will see that there is no data. This is a management domain, but there is no data center configured. So go to actions, new data center. So you can give any name here, meaningful name. Then my DC1, done. Data center has been created. Now you need to add the two hosts. The hosts we have, that two hosts need to be added. So how will you add this? Actions, go to actions, add hosts. So here you need to give the IP address. So I have copied the IP address of those two hosts. So if you go there, 133, first one is 210, 192, 168, 152, 133. So 192.168.150.133 dot 133 dot 133. Okay, 192, 168, 152 dot 133. Next, root password. You need to give the root password. You need to accept this alert. It's the host key. You need to accept it. Yes. Now, okay, done. To start it. Okay. So you have to disable the lockdown mode from here. If you want lockdown mode, if you enable lockdown mode, in that case, in case of any issue with the virtual center, you cannot log into the virtual that is the ESX host locally using its IP address. So that is the reason we generally not required to lock down the disable the lockdown mode. So just keep it enabled. So if you want any strict or secure configuration, you can do it. But for now it's not required. Keep enabled the lockdown mode. So okay, select it, next. This is the final configuration, finish. So it will add the host agents. Here it's showing the status progress, adding a standalone host to the virtual center. Completed. Any other thing, any other status? Let's see. Here check it if it's added. Yeah, one host is added. Add the other hosts. Add the other hosts. The other host IP is 174. So 192.168.150.174. We have not logged into this its management interface yet, so we have not tested it. It will test it. We will test it here only, the password. So hopefully it will also join. Yeah, accept it. Next. So select all the defaults. Finish. Okay, both the hosts are added. You can check the host status from here. Both the hosts are added. Now, guys, we need to configure the high availability cluster. Okay, so if you look at it, so there is the virtual center one. We see one virtual machine is with is 133. Now this also comes under the control of the virtual center. Okay, so because these hosts are now managed by virtual center. So we are not supposed to log into the ESX boxes directly until and unless there is an emergency requirement, or we can manage both the hosts using this virtual center. We need to configure cluster, so high availability cluster between these two hosts, and also DRS, that is distributed resource sharing configuration, using this virtual center. But before that, so I would like to configure a shared data store. So shared data store using a storage source. So what storage source we are going to use here? If you have a SAN in your environment, that you can use. If you have a NAS, you can use. Here we'll be using NFS share from the Linux host. So let's configure the NFS there in the Linux host. So okay, I have given the instructions in the document. So this is the host configuration host already. Yeah. So create a directory, my data store. Okay, so my data store, my directory has been created. Okay, my directory data store has been created. Okay, my data store created. Now we need to share this directory. Now we can put some files on it. So let's just put this one. Okay, CP. Just move some files. So let's this ESX ISO. Let's put it there. Transfer it. Okay, it's in the temp location. but this is not required. We can use okay, we will do it later on. First export. So now we need to configure the NFS configuration. We'll transfer the file CentOS, that is CentOS ISO later on. Let's transfer the image, that is let's configure the NFS now. So NFS configuration. So my data store is done. Now we need to add. So we need to add in the we need to allow the ESX host to access this share through NFS. So for that we need to modify the IP addresses 133, then 133, and the other one is 174. So my data store, this we need to add it in the file etc exports, vi etc exports. So just add it there, save it. This allows the ESX host to access this share, and we can mount it in the ESX boxes using the vCenter. So but look, let's see the NFS service is running or not. Systemctl status NFS server. It's not loaded. Start it. Systemctl start NFS service. This is started now. So if you check that, now the service is started. Let's check the export fs -v. These two are exported. This share is exported to both the ESX boxes. Now there is one problem. We could not access it from the ESX because there is a local firewall running. So we are using NFS version 3, which needs multiple ports to be blocked. But if we use NFS version 4, so we just need to block one port, allow one port. So here, let's do one thing for our lab purpose. Let's disable firewall for now. Systemctl stop firewall D. So it's always better to configure NFS version 4 that use TCP instead of RPC and allow 2049 port. Then it will work. So okay, that's fine. Now for now it's fine. So we have disabled it. It's exported. Go to the virtual center. Virtual center is this location. So go to the same location. Storage, new data store. Okay. So use NFS. Next. NFS version 3 we are using. So NFS version 3, if you configured your NFS with NFS version 4, then you have to select this one. So for now it's fine. Here you need to mention the name of the data store, what data store you want to give. So let's see, my NFS data store 1. Okay, so my NFS data store 1 folder is folder, you have to give this one. This my data store is the folder. Yeah, we cannot copy paste, we have to type it. Okay, so my data store. Okay, so my data store and the server IP is the IP, the internal IP of this Linux box. So IP ADDR will show you the server IP of the virtual bridge 1 that we have configured. VR bridge 1, this one. So this 192.168, the gateway is the, our gateway is itself the NFS source. So 150.1 192.168.150.1. okay, so Now this NFS, the storage connection will happen with the ESX boxes, not with the virtual center. Virtual center will manage it, but the ESX boxes will access, both the ESX boxes should access this, uh, the same share. Okay, so now select both the hosts and proceed further. Okay, now finish. So if the connection successfully works, then it will show here, otherwise it will show fail. I don't think, I think it's completed. It does not show any error. It's completed now. Create NAS data store is completed. Go to storage, data store. So data store here it's showing this NAS data store. Okay. So there is a warning with the data store one. It's one of the data store, local data store of any of the ESX box. I think it's some warning is there. Leave it for now. This is fine. This NFS data store is now this one. Okay, so this is a shared data store which is available in both the hosts. So this, now let's configure the HA cluster. Now everything, all these steps are mentioned in this document, so you can go through this. So storage cluster configuration is also mentioned here, so you can go through this one. It's a self-explanatory document. Now let's configure the cluster. So where is the cluster configuration? Go to the data center, actions, new cluster. So give a name of the cluster. My HA1. Okay, so my HA1, it's in the data store one. Now enable DRS, enable HA. vSAN is not, we are not configuring vSAN, so let leave it as it is. So then okay. So here we need to add both the hosts in the cluster. So add, select the existing hosts. These two hosts are visible. Select it. Next. Next. Finish. So it's now configuring it. So it's configured now. So the next step is to, what's this is showing something. Okay, now okay. Now you need to configure. The hosts are added. Now you need to configure. Click on configure cluster. Here it's going to configure the distributed switch. So by default, ESX hosts are using vSwitch, that is independent to the hosts. Each host independent to the ESX hosts, but distributed switch spans across hosts, like it spans across to both the ESX hosts and managed by the vCenter. So we need to map it. We need to map it the vNIC, that is the virtual NIC, with the distributed switch. So distributed switch will now, the vCenter will be used for this communication. It will manage the connections, virtual switch. So next. Just select default for now. If you want to enable this virtual machine monitoring, you can enable it. I'm not doing it because there is a resource issue. If you enable too many services, the lab will not work. So next. Finish. Let it complete. It will take some time. It will HA agent. It will install the HA agent in the hosts. it will take some time. So I think the warning, there is the alarm is there. What is the alarm for? Let's select what the alarm is for. Insufficient VMHA, insufficient failover resources. Okay, failover resources not there. It's a lab environment, not an issue. So let's wait for some time. Let's see if everything completed or not. It's not completed yet. Everything completed or not? Yeah, it's done. Done. HA cluster is configured because there is no warning. It's not showing any warning. So this is the we have a cluster now. My HA. Have a look. Earlier all these hosts were displayed under this DC1. Now they were displayed under HA1, and there is one virtual center. It's showing disconnected. Let's say I think there is a resource issue. That's the reason it got disconnected. It's running on 133. Okay. Let's see if the I think there is a resource issue. That is the reason it happens. Anyway, this happens in the lab environment. We have a constraint in this, but the HA is working. It's showing healthy. There is no warning. Only this is disconnected. So let's see if we can migrate it to other hosts, or let's leave it. Everything is working. For the virtual center is accessible. So let's now create for our lab testing. Let's see what we can do. Let's copy some image. Let's copy some image to the my data store, and let's see. CD TMP. It's showing this this one. Let's ISO image. Let's copy this one. CP is a small image. CP to my data store. So I have copied the image from the Linux host. You can also upload image from this location. Okay. So I do not want to do anything with this virtual center instance, because if I reboot it, it will take a long time. So let's complete our lab, then we'll see. Go through this one. Hosts, data store. Browse this one. Files. Yeah, there is an image available. We can use this image to try to install a VM, and let's see. Now it's connected. Have a look. DRS has fixed the issue. DRS has fixed the issue. Now it's located in which location? It's connected now. It's 133. DRS has, if you look at the tasks, if you go to monitor and the task and events, if you see the events, the host is connected now. Here you will see the virtual machine VC1 is connected now. The virtual machine is there, connected state in the inventory, and can access it. user or system action that resulted in operation such creating, registering is a vCenter. Resources such as connecting vCenter. If you can see this one in these logs for more details. The state of the virtual machine host changed from non-responding to connected, and the host gave vCenters access to the virtual machine. If you see here, it shows is disconnected. Okay, so the recovery has been done already. Recovery has been already done. Now let's into this create a virtual machine. Create a virtual machine in this cluster. Okay, so let's distribute it in a different location, like this vc1 is currently running on summary. Go to summary, it's running on 133. So let's create a virtual machine in 174. Okay, let's create a machine in 174. New virtual machine, create a new virtual machine. Test ESX VM1. Okay, test ESX VM1. So this is virtual center, this is in DC1 we are creating it. Go to next. So selected, this one is selected. We have already selected it, that otherwise we'll have to select it. If you select the cluster, the compatibility check succeeded. Next. We need to use the NFS data store. Okay, so we'll be installing it in the NFS data store, because if we put it in the NFS data store, in that case, whenever we need to the virtual machine, using migrate the virtual machine using vMotion, live vMotion, so it just need to configure the state of the cluster machine, like it will just move the configuration, not the data. Otherwise we can have the option to move the data from one data store to another data store in the cluster, but this is a faster one. Okay, so this is efficient. We need to keep the data in a data store, shared data store. That's the best way. Okay, next. Okay, this is, just accept it. Guest OS. So let's see, we have anything like other or something. VMware is there. Okay, VMware is there. By default, it's there. So that's great. VMware 6.5 or later. Select this one because our image, the operating system is not supported. See, unsupported, that is okay. So if we see, this is saying unsupported. So I think we need to go for other, like 6.0. It's not showing. If we select other. So other, if that's not supported, so if it's not supported, so can we install it? Let's see. Let's try to. Okay, we have selected it. Let's proceed. It's a small image, so it will not take much time to installation. That's the reason I have selected it. Okay, we leave it as it is, the options. Leave it this much, whatever is required. 40 GB is okay. Just leave it. Not an issue. Finish. So it's image is virtual machine is created. Now we need to boot it. Before that, we need to add the media, the installation media. Edit settings, installation media, and this CD DVD drive. Go there. Data store file. Select data store file. Then you need to select the NFS data store. Select the image. Okay. So selected. Now say connect or connected, power on. Okay, enable. Fine. So it's connected now. So power it on. Whether it works or not, it will work or not, I don't know, because it's not supported. Now open the web console. Launch web console. Let's see what it shows on the screen. Allow it for the first time. It's let's see if it starts or not. It's showing VMware ESX. So if it works, that's a small image. If it does not work, so we can test it, like if we configure with the tune the resources, the system will work. So we can go for the Linux image, but Linux image is also it's a big image. So CentOS is a very big image. So we need to go for any smaller image like Ubuntu Live Edition or something. So unfortunately, I don't have the image with me. So what I can show you, just keep this image. It's VMware. Let's see. Attempting to start off from. So it's doing something. Let's see. I think it's loading it. So let it load. Let it load, and we'll test our parts. So keep it loading. So keep it loading. Keep it loading. We will do our work. Testing we can do. So it's running, right? This virtual machine is running, and also installation in progress. So when the installation is progress, let's move it right now where it's running. Have a look. IP it will not show because it's not up yet. So it's running on 174. So it's running on 174. What we can do, we can migrate it, live migration. Okay, so just change the compute resource only, change storage only, or change both compute and storage. Storage change is not required because it's already lying in the shared data store. So wherever you move the configuration, it's going to run. Okay, so if you do a storage vMotion, that will be a time consuming, and sometimes the operating system will not run. So it's a live migration. Within the cluster, you can even migrate both the things. That's going to work, but there will be a delay in the operation. So but here our machine is just in installation state, so it's not up. So it's still working. So let's vMotion it, and let's see whether the VM continues to run or not. Select. So right now this is running on where it's running. Cancel 174. Okay, 174 it's running on. So let's start it again. Migrate. Configuration resource only. 174, move it to 133. I think it will not work because resource issue. Let's see. Schedule vMotion on high priority. Okay, leave it. Finish. Okay, yeah, vMotion started. vMotion is started. See if it's running. It's still running. Okay, it's still running on. Its installation is still progressing. The console has been disconnected for, I think, console disconnected. Refresh it. Let's see what's the status of vMotion completed. vMotion completed. It's now running on 133. Okay, so it's running on 133. Have a look. The installation is still continuing. Okay, the VM has not been stopped yet. VM is running. The installation is in progress, so it may not work because this is again a hypervisor. We are installing hypervisor at layer 4, so it's not going. It may not going to work. So, but it's working, right? Installation is working. So you can, that's proof that our lab is working. Even we can vMotion the vCenter. So now since this both running on 133, so it may increase the load on the server. It may increase the load on the server. So what we can do? So we can move this virtual center to the configuration to the other one. Let's move this configuration of this VC1 to say 174. Migrate. Select. So it does not show the host because it's only showing one. The compatibility check succeeded. Let's see what it says. It says something. Distributed switch. The compatibility check succeeded. Okay. Next. Schedule vMotion with higher priority. So what is the state of the ESX host? Let's see. State of the ESX host. Go to this one. Swing control disconnected. I think it's resource issue. This is a resource issue. That's the reason it's happening. It's not working. Okay, so let's see. Refresh it. Yeah, it's a resource. It's getting disconnected frequently. Anyway, this is now residing in 133. However, we need to move it to 174. It was actually when we created this one. Okay, so this is running, right? Let's see what is the state. What is the state of this one? This is in 174. This is in 173. So if I move this one as well again to 174. Let's see if DRS does any work. If DRS works for resource handling. So 174 it's running. Okay, so this is virtual. Let's see, it's running on 174 and the other one is running on 133. So let's move this one as well to migrate it to 174. Let's see. $133. We need to move it to 133 because it's running on 174. Next. 133. Succeeded. Okay, next. Then finish. The migration started. What is the state of this one? This is not going to work because this is not supported. I have started it forcefully just for testing the environment. I have started it. This is a small image. If I use Centos, that takes a long time to complete the installation. So it's better to test with a small image. That is the reason I have selected ESX 6.7 image. So it's now the migration completed. Okay, it's still working. Yeah, migration completed now. So both of these are running on, but I think okay, it moved back. I think it's running on 133. both are running on 133. Okay, so both are running on 133. If we so okay, so what is the state of this? What is the state of this event now? Why it's running? Has the DRS taken any action? Let's see. No, both are running on the same. I think there is a resource available. That's the reason it's running. If the resource issue happens, then now where this one is running on? Okay, so migrate virtual machine. Something happening, like something happening. Let's see and monitor the events. Migrating off. Why this is happening? Let's see. Hot migrating test VM. This on in DC1 NFS data store test migration. So in DC1. Yeah, here have a look. DRS migrated this VM test ESX VM1 from this to this in the cluster in DC1. So DRS migrated it because of the resource adjustment. So if both the VMs were running on one host and there is a shortage of resource, that is the reason it's moved one VM to the other host. Okay, so I think the installation also failed. ESX installation also failed because it's still running. Okay, so it's failed. It's not going to work, but our lab is successful. So DRS is working. It's even the automatic migration auto migration is also happening through DRS. We have tested it with a live migration. We have tested the virtual center as well. So lab is fully functional. So for normal work you can use it. For experimenting with anything related to virtualization like the ESX and the other components related to ESX, its cluster, so you can do that. If you need to run any production or test or development related work in this, then you have to go for higher capacity, high performance instance in machine images like the compute optimized nodes or uh, GPU optimized nodes. So those nodes, that those machine types you have to select. But these are the normal purpose, general purpose. But normal work you can do. If you don't use VMware ESX, then you can run multiple Linux operating systems and you can work with. You can install OpenStack on the KVM nested virtualization directly on the KVM. You can configure OpenShift on it. You can configure Kubernetes cluster. You can also configure any other application that you want to test, because ideally this virtual machine, this Linux instance does have a huge capacity of memory, 60 gigs, and also you have 16 CPUs, so you can run many applications on it. Since ESX is again a virtualization environment, so we have installed it over our nested virtualization. It's running at level 3, so that's the reason its performance is a bit slow. But if you run any other operating system inside it, but that will create problem. But yeah, VC1, like the virtual center 1, this is working. This is working. If we can also install any Linux, we can also install any Windows operating system inside it. It will be slower, but it will work. For lab purpose, it's absolutely fine. So I hope you enjoyed the session and you find it quite informative. So let's end this lab for now. And in my next videos, I will be coming with KVM virtualization, like Red Hat virtualization, and also say Red Hat virtualization manager I will be showing you. So for that I need to prepare the labs first. I will test it and then I will come out with the video. Okay, thank you for watching. Enjoy the videos, and I will share it in YouTube, and also you can get it in Facebook. Also I will share it in LinkedIn. You will get the work notes also, that is the document that also I will be sharing with you so that you can use it. Thank you and stay tuned.